Hey there, everybody. It's Jenny, and I am back this week to share with you a little bit of my memory planning process. I am now working with Beth Ann Black from Close to My Heart, and these products are stunning. I had the opportunity to choose a few sets that I would like to work with, and I am so excited to share them with you because they are beautiful. You can see I've already printed my photos. I have a bunch that are 1.5 by 2, and then I have a handful that are 2 by 3. What I decided about this was that there were a handful that I really wanted to promote to the top, if you will. I really wanted them to stand out a little bit more. So that meant printing them a little bit larger. However, printing the rest the smaller size enabled me to be able to fit all of these photos on this layout. As you can see when I'm finished here, I am thinking that this would be amazing to have so many photos on one layout. I mean, are you kidding me right now? Like, this is the whole week. But let me be honest, it was a busy one. So I understand not everybody's going to have this many photos, but for those weeks that you do, definitely refer back to this because there are so many photos. There was so much going on and just so many things that I didn't want to miss. I completely understand that you may be like, oh my God, I only have 4 or 5 photos, but there are so many things to fill in if you only have 4 or 5 photos, and so many opportunities for journaling and so many opportunities for really getting, if you will, creative, I mean, just really stretching those creative muscles and documenting what you're doing. You can see I've also included my Wordle and a negative COVID test. I know that's kind of crazy, but yep, we took one and it was negative, so thankfully. Now I'm going to be working with this stamp set first, and it is so cute. It is called Perfectly Imperfect Patterns, and it's got some squares and then it's got some like splotches. So first I put the black squares down, and by the way, this black ink is beautiful. I can't wait to play with it more because I love how it looks. Now this is one of those splotches. I'm priming it by rubbing it on the back of my hand, and then I am using this Glacier ink pad to press down all this beautiful color. Now there is a little tiny splotch in between the block and the splotch, say all that fast, that didn't get covered. On the back side, there was a lot of, raisedness, so it was not perfect, but don't worry, I'm going to show you how I'm going to fix that. And so layering on top of that is this beautiful flower from the In Full Bloom stamp set. It is so pretty. I'm obsessed, actually. I cannot wait to do more with this stamp set, and I think you're going to be impressed too. But so how I fix that? Simply press the ink pad together, gets a little bit of ink on the lid, use my watercolor brush, voila, I colored it in. No big deal. Now, one of the things that you probably haven't been able to see really well is that these ink splotches have varying degrees and patterns on them so that it really genuinely looks like an ink splotch. Like, it's crazy. It's so pretty. And this glacier color, also gorgeous. So now on top of that glacier color, I want to stamp a little bit more. So first I'm going to clean off this block because I want to use the block. Now I can peel that up and put another flower down. And these are just, again, I cannot wait to share with you the end result because they're just so pretty. Now I am using the Mink ink pad on here, and you're probably thinking, Mink? It is the most beautiful color of beige. And I know that sounds so weird, but it's such a great color to work with for subtle things. I'm really excited about it. Now I also ordered this #1 fan stamp set, and it has this little phrase in it that says "You're awesome" in a super cute font. And so I was very excited about this one, and I am going to stamp it right on top of that little watercolor splotch right there. So now this whole little cluster is incorporating all 3 of the colors that I wanted to work with this week. So we're working with both the Mink, the Archival Black, and the glacier. It's all so very beautiful together too. It's going together exactly how I hoped that it would. So now I'm going to clean off that splotch that I already used because I am going to now create the third point in my visual triangle. If you're new here, visual triangles are something that I absolutely work with almost exclusively in my designs. Now, do you see that? Zoom in and check out that. Like, that is just from the stamp. All those different little elements. Like, it genuinely looks, I mean, I'm just so stoked about it because it's so exciting. Anyway, the visual triangle, this is my third point. You just put 3 points down that could be connected by straight lines and would create a triangle. And that is what your eye wants to see. All right, so we've got this little black splotch. I wasn't worried about the little mark in the middle that didn't get covered with ink. Like, I didn't go crazy trying to make sure that I pressed it down because I knew that I wanted to add just a little dollop of patterned paper right there. So I simply used my paper punch. I glued it right on top of the part with the missing ink, and then I adhered it. I just wanted a really different little spot up at the top because I have the two others that are very similar, so adding that patterned paper really helped right there. So that's one of those things that just, it let me work with my creativity a little bit more because it was sort of random. Like, I didn't know exactly how that was going to come out. I just knew that I wasn't going crazy making sure that the entire image was inked because I knew I wanted to cover up part of it. So that way I could think about it a little bit more and figure out how I wanted it to look. Now I'm just using these Studio Calico label stickers to go ahead and put down spaces for all my activities for the week. I'm keeping to the very similar color pattern to what we already have. So I'm working a lot with black and then a little bit with these cement colored labels. Now they are not a perfect match to the mink ink from Close to My Heart. However, they do go really well, and I'm really happy with how it all comes together. And I just love that added boldness from the black as well. Now I'm going to fill in those activities. So the boxes are for practices, appointments, things like that. Nothing new here. This is the standard, really. And I'm just going to fill all those in. As I talk about nearly every week, this is the reason I started memory planning. I really wanted to capture what was going on in our everyday lives in a really linear sort of way. So this is what happened Monday, this is what happened Tuesday, and really be able to document all of the practices and all of those things. This was when all three of my kids were in high school and elementary school, and so it was really to capture how busy we were. However, now that I've sort of moved out of that a little bit, I only have one son left in middle school, my other two are in college, and I find that I have less things to keep track of. However, the story is still so beautiful and just in an entirely different way. And I cannot imagine not doing this project because it's so cool to document what's going on each and every day. All right, now this photo that I placed down here, it's really cool. I like it a lot. But I realized I wasn't going to have enough room for journaling. Like, there was a little bit more I wanted to tell this week. You guys know that journaling isn't something that I'm normally like, oh my gosh, it's so crazy. So I mounted the photo on white cardstock and I trimmed it to its width. Now I am going to add a little line down the middle. I cannot scoring it, a score line down the middle so that I can fold it in half. Then that way I will know how long to trim it. I could have obviously measured it and cut it and did those types of things. I just decided not to. Then I'm going to adhere it down right there, and then I have a flip up for my journaling. This is nothing exciting or new or anything like that. I just normally don't do this stuff because I don't normally have so much journaling to include. But because I had so many photos this week, it just didn't really leave a lot of room for journaling. And I definitely wanted a couple of spots for that. So it was important that I added that. So now I'm just going to clean off the stamp. I'm still using the same stamp cleaner and the microfiber towels, which is just working out so swimmingly. I only wish I had started it sooner. Now in that Perfectly Imperfect pattern stamp set, there is a couple of little like straight lines, if you will. There's a dashed one, there's a dotted one, and then there's this one with the adorable little hearts. And seriously, if you can zoom in and check out how freaking cute that little line of hearts is. Like, I actually want to keep this on a stamp block and keep it on my desk. It's that cute. Like, this stamp set, you guys are going to see it so much in the future because I am so excited about it. It's just absolutely gorgeous. So we had those little stamps in a couple of different clusters right there. I just loved how they looked together. They were so very cute. Now I'm going to add the journaling lines right here just to tell a small little story over on the furthest right column, which happens to be Friday, because if you'll recall, Saturday and Sunday are in at the bottom of each page. Now we're going to do the same thing with journaling lines over here, but just a handful. Typically what I do is I fill what room I have and then write to what room I have. Now I know that seems probably counterintuitive to some of you, but as I've talked about in the past, the photos, the activities, and the decorations are what's important to me. The journaling is important, but it's not in the same category. So that's why I fill the spaces with journaling after I've added the rest of those things. So luckily there was room for a little bit of journaling this week, and I'm so glad because there was just so much going on and so many fun things that I needed to definitely keep track of and stories I needed to tell. Now I'm going to do the same thing here inside this journaling strip. I'm just going to add the lines down, and I'm not going to stagger them. I'm going to make them as close to straight as possible. You know, this is something I rarely do, so I really had to give this a lot of thought, but I wanted to make sure that I was able to fit in all I wanted to say. I knew that the photo that was on the top of this journaling spot had a lot that I needed to say about it. So that's why I made sure that fit right there. Look how cute this all is. Thanks so much for stopping by and watching. I really do appreciate it. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment box below. And also make sure to go and check out Beth Ann Black's Close to My Heart shop. There are so many beautiful supplies you won't want to miss. Thanks so much and make it a great day.